So picture this, 40 high-level stakeholders, cameras on, corporate faces as stiff as concrete, and suddenly the screen flashes to me. The guy who just muttered, "Oh my God, get to the point. Nobody cares." And the worst part, I had no idea I wasn't muted. But what no one knew then is that the humiliation they gave me that day, I wasn't going to let it slide. Not after what the project manager did next. If you've ever had someone embarrass you, talk down to you, or treat you like you don't matter, hit that like button. Subscribe if you believe justice doesn't always come from karma. Sometimes you have to deliver it yourself, because today's story, it's about how a single hot mic mistake spiraled into office politics, public shaming, and eventually, one of the most satisfying workplace comebacks you'll hear today. The day this happened, I woke up exhausted. Not I could use a nap, exhausted. I'm talking about that brain fog. Body heavy, emotionally drained, exhaustion that comes from weeks of carrying a project that should have been handled by a team, but was somehow dumped almost entirely onto me. For context, I work as a mid-level analyst for a large tech company. Not glamorous, not miserable. Just a place where people pretend color-coded spreadsheets matter more than their own personal lives. And up until that morning, I used to be a model employee. Quiet, reliable, always on time. The kind of guy everyone likes, but no one actually listens to. There's always one person who takes advantage of that type. In my case, it was our project manager, Cole Whitman. Now, if I had to describe Cole in one sentence, I'd say, he's the corporate version of a malfunctioning printer, loud for no reason, breaks down during small tasks. And somehow everyone still pretends he's essential. He had this way of talking where every sentence felt like a TED talk nobody asked to attend, even when he was wrong, and trust me, he often was. People still nodded along like he was preaching gospel. And for 3 months straight, this guy overloaded me with tasks that were technically his responsibility. Status reporting, dumped on me. Client updates, me again. Technical documentation, guess who? And every time I tried to push back, he gave me the same condescending smile, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes, and said, "You're just so good at this stuff, and I trust your expertise." Corporate translation, I'm lazy and you're convenient. So yeah, I was already irritated that morning, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next. The meeting from hell. The all-hands meeting was scheduled for noon. 40 people, leadership included. Big project update, big expectations, big disaster waiting to happen. I was starving, so I grabbed a late lunch, leftover pasta, and logged into the call early. Camera off, mic muted, headset muted. Or so I thought. Now here's the thing about online meetings. After 2 years of remote work, mute buttons have become emotional support blankets. They protect us. They give us safety. They give us freedom. And like a fool, I trusted mine. About 45 minutes into the meeting, Cole started explaining, or more accurately, over-explaining, a delay he personally caused. He dragged on, sentence after sentence, buzzword after buzzword, like a man trying to set a world record for how many times someone can say cross-functional synergy before losing his soul. The worst part? He was pinning the delay on internal processing inefficiencies, which was corporate speak for. It wasn't my fault, I swear. My frustration built up, pressure rising like a shaken soda can. I could feel my jaw clench, my shoulders tighten, my breathing heavier. And then it happened. Out of pure, unfiltered exhaustion, I sighed, loudly, and muttered, "Oh my God, just get to the point. Nobody cares." I didn't even say it with passion. It was the quiet, defeated kind of annoyance you whisper to yourself when you've reached your limit. But Microsoft Teams heard me. Not only heard me, highlighted me. For a split second, my video popped up on everyone's screen like a jump scare in a horror movie. But I didn't see it. What I saw was something worse. The silence. A sudden, thick, suffocating silence. It wasn't the silence of people ignoring something. It was the silence of people pretending they didn't hear something explosive. Cole froze mid-sentence. 5 seconds. 10. He blinked, shifted slightly, looked directly into the camera as if searching for who said it. And my brain, finally suspicious, told my hand to check the headset. I tapped it. It beeped. Mute on. My heart dropped. Every cell in my body turned into cold static. My stomach twisted into a sailor's knot. My pulse hammered in my ears. I wasn't muted for 45 minutes in front of 40 people. But the humiliation wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what happened after the call. Cole makes his move. I closed the meeting so fast the laptop almost didn't keep up. Within 10 seconds, Slack exploded. Ping, 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 ping. I didn't open them. I couldn't. Instead, I sat there staring at my reflection in the black screen. Face hot, breathing uneven, mind screaming, "Congratulations, You just ended your career over a sigh and a complaint. But then, at 12:57 p.m., I got an email from Cole. Subject line, "We need to discuss this afternoon, urgently." I clicked it. One line, "Your behavior today was unacceptable. We'll talk at 3 p.m. And that was when embarrassment slowly turned into something else. Anger. Because if anyone in that meeting deserved accountability, it wasn't me. It was him. And I realized, at maybe for the first time, that humiliation can be a powerful motivator, especially when it's unfair. I spent the next 2 hours pacing my apartment like a caged animal. Shame is heavy. But anger? Anger is energizing. And the more I replayed the meeting in my mind, the more the humiliation twisted into something razor sharp. Cole wasn't calling this meeting because he cared about professionalism. He was calling it because this was his chance. For months, he'd been desperate to build authority he didn't actually have. Belittling me in a private conversation? Perfect opportunity. Framing it as disciplinary? Even better. I knew exactly how this was going to go. He'd drag me into a private call. He'd lecture me like some corporate father figure. He'd imply that my mistake had damaged his relationship with the stakeholders. He'd recommend performance coaching, and he'd end it all by reminding me how lucky I was to have this job. He'd spin it all, because that's what he did best. Twist other people's mistakes to protect his own incompetence. But there was just one problem for him. He had given me 3 months' worth of material to use against him. And maybe I'd been too passive before. Maybe too patient. Maybe too loyal. But humiliation has a funny way of rewiring your sense of justice. By the time 3 p.m. rolled around, I wasn't the same person who panicked over a hot mic mistake. I was focused. Clear. And very, very done. The private call. 12 p.m. sharp, the invite popped up. Join Microsoft Teams meeting. 1.1, me. I clicked. He was already there, leaning back in his chair. Hands clasped together like some kind of disappointed high school principal. "Thanks for joining," he began, voice slow, calm. Measured, the classic tone of a man rehearsing dominance. "I'm sure you know why we're here." I didn't respond. Let him talk. People like him love talking. "What happened today was highly unprofessional. You openly insulted me during a critical meeting in front of leadership and stakeholders. And frankly, I'm struggling to understand what made you think that was acceptable." My jaw tightened, but I kept my expression neutral. He continued, "I've already informed HR. They suggested we discuss corrective actions informally first. It doesn't have to escalate. If you're willing to cooperate." And there it was. The move. The trap. The leverage he always wanted. He wanted compliance, not resolution. But what he didn't know was that I had spent the last 2 hours preparing. Not just emotionally, but strategically. I slid a folder onto my desk. Printed pages. Screenshots. Email chains. Receipts. And for the first time in months, I smiled. "Cole," I said calmly, "before we talk about professionalism, I think we should talk about the parts of the project you've been delegating." To me, his expression flickered. "I'm not sure what you mean." I clicked share screen. His face dropped the second he saw the title of the PDF. Task reassignments, responsibility transfers, and undocumented requests, May to July. Inside the document, every instance where he shifted his work to me. Every email where he claimed I volunteered. Every Slack message where he used vague phrases like, "Handle this for me," and "You're better at this part anyway." But the crown jewel, the time-stamped messages proving that he caused the deadline delay he blamed on. Internal inefficiencies. It wasn't just evidence. It was a career grenade. His voice cracked. Where did you get all this?" I shrugged. "From my inbox." He swallowed hard. "Look, I think you're misunderstanding. This isn't about the tasks. This is about your behavior today." "Oh, I know," I replied. "But HR will be very interested in discovering why a project manager assigned half of his responsibilities to a mid-level analyst without documentation, and then attempted to discipline that analyst when he got caught, lying in a stakeholder meeting." He went pale. I leaned closer. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to message HR and clarify that today's incident was a misunderstanding. No corrective actions required. And then," I paused for effect, "you're going to stop assigning your work to me. Permanently." He blinked rapidly. "You're blackmailing me." I shook my head. "No, Cole, I'm protecting myself. If you escalate this, I escalate too, upwards." He wasn't used to losing control. Not like this. For a long, tense moment, he said nothing. Then, "I'll take care of it." "Good," I answered. "Send the email now." He typed. I watched his eyes dart left and right as he wrote a message. I would have paid money to see. "HR, after reviewing the situation with me, I believe the audio incident was accidental and does not warrant further action." "Great," I said. And one more thing. He looked up. You're explaining the timeline delay in the next meeting, honestly, without blaming internal inefficiencies. His jaw clenched, but he nodded. The call ended with him looking like a man who had aged 10 years in 30 minutes. The revenge payoff. The next morning we had another all-hands meeting. Same group, same format. Except this time when the topic of delays came up, Cole didn't even look at me. He took a breath and said, "We experienced delays because I didn't fully account for the workload distribution on my end. That's on me." The room went silent. He never admitted mistakes. Ever. But leadership did something interesting. They nodded, approvingly. Because in corporate culture, fallibility, when delivered with humility, looks like maturity. They respected it. He hated it. And me? I sat there quietly, camera off, Mick fully muted this time, eating leftover pasta with the most peaceful smile I'd had in months. Not because I destroyed him. I didn't need to. But because he finally learned. You can only push a quiet person so far before they push back harder. Looking back, the hot mic wasn't my downfall. It was my wake-up call. Sometimes humiliation feels like the end of the world. But sometimes, it's the beginning of a backbone. Justice doesn't always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the form of standing up for yourself after months of being underestimated. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to get revenge on a coworker who pushed you too far? And of course, subscribe for more stories where the quiet ones finally get their justice.